Hopefully you guys enjoyed this portion of the show, because up next, Lex, you got to get up.
Oh, I'm up.
Okay, you know what time it is? Up next.
Matt Connarton.
It's time for our interview with the one, the only, Mr. Matt Connarton from WMNH 95.3. Everybody, welcome Matt Connarton. I'm so excited for this interview. Me and Lexi have been waiting for this all day.
Oh, yeah.
Without further ado, we're really big fans of the show. And I think it's crazy because normally we are in opposite roles.
Yeah.
But without further ado, the host of WMNH's Matt Connarton Unleashed. Everybody, Matt Connarton.
Oh, shucks. Thank you.
And I was saying briefly before we got started that this isn't urgent or anything, but we have so many questions for you. I know we'll be talking about Swarmy Fest later on. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, because we are actually real fans of your show.
Thank you.
You have the coolest time slot, I think, in New England. Saturday mornings, all the bands are getting ready, plugging in their amplifiers.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. The whole time.
And like I've for years now, there's no show. I don't know if they're outside of New England, but there is no show like yours that I've heard that's so like old fashioned, where people can wake up in the morning and call in, and it's interactive. It's so old school, and I feel so lucky to have 95.3 and WMNH and you as a radio show host, but everything, your past, your present, your future. I just think you got the coolest thing going on, and I think what you do is a big mosaic and a recipe to what makes New England so fucking cool to be a band here. Your show. I just want to say thank you so much for doing it, and
thank you.
Congratulations for lasting the test of time.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah, no, thank you very much. I appreciate all that. Thank you so much. And by the way, not to interrupt, but I should say I'm a big fan of yours as well. As you know, Jenny and I are big fans of Sepsiss. So.
It's kind of weird because we have so much in common. Making people upset. We have a lot of trolls. We'll talk. We'll compare notes later. But another thing that you and Jenny are a brand, man. Like, you guys are a brand, and like Matt Connarton Unleashed is such a layered onion of just like talented. You're so fucking smart. You got a great voice for radio. Just so everyone, how do we break you down, man? Like, what, like, are you, who are we talking to today? Are we talking to Matt Connarton, the radio show host? Are we talking about Matt and Jenny, the brand? Are we talking about activism or tough bumps? Or, like, are you going to fucking hypnotize us today on the show? Do you have many layers? Another thing that we have in common with you is you have a lot of layers to you, man. Like, you have big history. You were in a band before. You do this music program. I know. Matt Connarton Unleashed is your baby, your pride, your priority, or what people know. What I would know from you. But I want everybody to know who you are as an onion, as a layer. Can you break Matt Connarton down and tell us everything about you? That's crazy. Tell us everything about you. No.
I do have a lot of different, sometimes I wonder if I would have been a lot more successful than I am at this point in my life if I'd kind of focused on one thing. But you mentioned I have a lot of different things going on, and I've always kind of been that way. I do the radio show, I run IPMNation, I have a hypnotherapy practice, I do this, I do that. Sometimes I think if I had not paid any attention to the music industry, for example, and just focused on my hypnotherapy practice, maybe I'd be running this enormous, hypnotherapy practice right now.
You'd have more money.
Yeah, I'd have more money, yes.
Right. I'm always telling people, wait a minute, you're in local music? Oh, okay.
Right.
No. So you're a lot like us. You're still doing things for the love of doing it. It seems like you care about a lot. I think if you care about a lot, it's hard to just be driven on one thing, right?
I think so. And, my dad kind of, he passed away not too long ago, but something about my dad that I always really admired is right to the end, no matter how old he got, and he was almost 80 when he passed away, but he was very passionate about music and not like you would never catch my dad listening to oldies. He was always interested in music that was current. He lived on the seacoast, so he loved WMNH. Because he loved college radio until the day he died. He loved college radio because he liked hearing new artists. He liked hearing new music. And he used to tell me, he said, Matt, we're in a golden age of music right now because there's so much of it, because of the internet. You have access to so much music. And so it like, I kind of model myself after him in the sense that no matter how old he got, he still cared. He still was so deeply passionate about music. Unlike most people who get stuck, by the time they're 30, they go, oh, I've heard all the music I ever need to hear now. But my dad, the things he cared passionately about, he cared about until the day that he died. So I try to, because I see a lot of people, I'm a Gen Xer, I'm a middle-aged man, and I see a lot of people in my generation who, at a certain point, they kind of start to, I don't know, settle in, settle down. This is it.
Discovery is not a necessity for survival anymore. You don't need to survive on what your friends think and your peer groups, and it doesn't feel like you're going to die if you don't fit in. So just like, what you listen to and how you dress and what your hair looks like is important when you're a fucking kid.
Yeah.
But so the motivation for discovery and the appetite for discovery feels like it's life and death. Yeah. If you're not listening to the artists that your friends are, you're not in the circle.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. But I think hopefully I'm going to end up like my dad in that sense, and that hopefully until the day I die, I'm still passionate about music.
You were really close with your dad. Did he listen to your program?
So, that's a very interesting and complicated question. Okay. Because my dad was a huge fan of the music component. Actually, my dad was a big fan of Sepsiss. I don't know if you realize that.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember if this has ever come up on the show when we've had you on my show, but yeah, my dad was a big fan. He never got to see you live or anything, but he was very much a fan. I remember we would talk about, because my personal favorite Sepsiss song is Eyes of Empathy, and I remember talking to my dad about it, and he's like, yeah, that's my favorite too, and I'm like, wait, what, really? So yeah, he was really into you. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. But my dad, my dad was always very encouraging and very enthusiastic about that aspect of what I do. Because he loved new music. So he loved that I was doing that. Where it gets complicated is when my show was on weekday afternoons, when I was an afternoon drive, there was also a heavy political component to the show. Yeah. Like very often, a typical show might do politics. Because I was weekday afternoons 4 to 6. So the first hour might be politics, the second hour, the musical guest, kind of like that. The politics part became a problem for my dad and I. Okay. Because he got, and this is disappointing to say, but I talk about him, the good and the bad. Yeah. He got to be pretty MAGA over the last decade or so of his life, inexplicably, because growing up he was always a liberal, which is how I turned out the way I'm the woke liberal that I am today because of my dad. But then he turned into this other dude. Like a lot of people, that's happened in a lot of families, though. You hear people all the time, oh, my parents, they got fucking weird. I don't know what happened to them, but they're not the same people they used to be.
Principles shift in like your taste buds. I really think people's lens, and depending on what we're consuming and like our health and it's I can understand how many families are challenged in not being torn apart over conversations that have to measure human decency. That's tough, man.
Yeah,
that's tough. Yeah. But and I'm sorry about your loss. But you seem like a big fan of him too, and he seems like a big fan of you too. Well,
so much of who I am is a direct result of him. My passion for music is very much a direct directly came from him, and that continuing passion. No matter how old I get, I still want to hear new stuff.
Yes.
I still want to explore new music and help promote new music. My passion for politics came from him too. Ironically enough, it's just that you
flawless guys still loved each other though.
Yeah, of course. Yes. But when I was a kid, he was a Democrat. Yeah. And his best friend was a Republican. Yeah. And he and his best friend would have all these conversations, and I would sit there and just listen. And I became fascinated by it. And of course, my dad was a Democrat, so that's, I grew up with, a lot of those same values and all of that, and then he eventually shifted. But that came from him too. My passion for both music and politics really came from growing up with my dad.
Well, you can't really have the music industry. You can have music like vibration and the way that Native Americans or Aborigines or indigenous people or people in the past may have celebrated music for its spiritual or vibrational or healing qualities or storytelling. But to have the capitalist institution of the music industry, you really do need politics. You need to understand the language of the law. Because of legislation and the laws that determine measuring the details of free speech and of course advertising and marketing and selling things. Those are all very, very political ideas. And it's funny when we talk to a lot of musicians, they'll say, keep politics out of music, or it'd be nice if musicians just didn't talk about politics at all. And it's like, wow, a lot of musicians, I don't think they realize their appetite for wanting to be in the music business or the music industry really has a lot to do with accounting and banking and the policies and the politics that are baked into capitalism and buying and selling and ROI and IPOs and so they go, they like to keep in a world of metrics and demographics, people want to keep these things separate at the same time. I'm gonna let Lexi fire away because she wrote down some questions for you. I know she wants to.
All right.
So you mentioned being in a band and a bass player.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more of your experience.
Yeah, we wanted to get nosy because we've been thinking about this for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. No, so I've played in a bunch of bands, and I am a bass player. I'm not particularly flashy. I'm very, very. It's funny because
you should have been filling in for us all season. I didn't realize this. Now I wouldn't have nailed you down, but geez, a couple of gigs at least, right?
Yeah, it's been a while for me, that's for sure. It's been a long time since I haven't picked up my bass. But yeah, I played in a bunch of bands. Again, nothing flashy. I don't know if you know Aaron Bilodeau, but he's like one of the best bass players I know. And he was on my show recently. He does a solo thing where he just plays his bass with some backing tracks.
Gotta be good if you're a bass soloist.
Oh, yeah. And I just watch his fingers the whole time because but I could never I could, but I'd have to really dedicate myself. I could never do what he does, but I played in a bunch of different bands. I played in a kind of a punk band. I played in a couple metal bands. I played in a band called Project Hybrid, which was like this sort of a hip hop project, but very sort of experimental. And I played bass in that. We did a lot of improvising. Chemical Distance, which was a really weird project.
You have to have a lot of room for variety in your library if you're going to host a music show.
Oh, yeah.
I think people think a lot of times that we're being generic when we're like, oh, we love to support local musicians because it sounds really good in a Facebook post. Everybody support local. But like for us, it's no gimmick. We really do. And we even like horrible music. Like we love like unmixed music or like demos.
I do too, actually. We
actually really like it. We're big fans of like underground rap and like music from the city and all over the world. Yeah, not just popular stuff. So when
underground rap is
local, we really mean that shit, man. We really have fun with the discovery.
Underground rap is the best rap.
How did you get involved with 95.3 and like what's the relationship? I'm just curious.
So that came about because so the show Matt Connarton Unleashed actually started it originally as a podcast in the summer of 2011.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yeah, it goes. Yeah, I've been doing it a while.
Shit. That's mind blowing.
Yeah,
because most people can't do anything for 11 minutes. Let let alone 10 years, 11 years.
Well, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
But so you may or may not know this, but WMNH is owned by Manchester Public Television. And I had been involved in some of the local television programming at Manchester Public Television for a long time. So I kind of already knew the people. So when WMNH got up and running, which was it was either 2015 or 2016, when it finally got on the air, because it's owned by Manchester Public Television, I already knew some of the people involved. So, they got the first couple of shows launched, and then they offered me the opportunity to bring, because I was also doing a TV version on local Channel 23 here at the time it was Channel 23 here in Manchester of my show, in addition to the podcast. Fun. Yeah. So then they offered me the opportunity to bring the show to radio and put me in afternoon drive weekdays 4 to 6. The caveat being I had to give up the TV show. Gotcha. They didn't want me doing both because they wanted a clear delineation. But yeah, afternoon drive, hell yeah. But that's how that came about in April of 2017. That's when the podcast became a radio show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, just quick. Where can everybody? I've realized I've really slutted out now, but I watch, I watch you on Facebook. I don't even like admitting that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just so easy. We get up and we do our coffee and Matt Connarton. You get the Facebook going. We're on our way to the show. What are all the places people can find you though? Just so we know, and we got that covered.
Easiest thing to do if you just go to my website, mattconnerton.com.
Yep.
And if you go to the Unleashed page or go to the radio and podcasts page, that's the easiest way. All the links are there. Obviously, if you're local in Manchester, New Hampshire and surrounding areas, you can hear the show at 95.3 FM. But
so cool, man.
Everywhere else you can
being
stream it.
A Manchester band, and they're just being anything like that. There being an existing radio station that plays local bands in our own town. It's just such a cool thing to be alive and have that still happening at the same time as all of this other stuff is happening.
Yeah, it's become a rare thing.
I wanted to ask you, with your activism, of course, like your personal lives, everything you and Jen got going on. Is that hard to organize? Is that hard to separate? Is it hard to keep the shows and what she's got going on? She's got a lot of powerful things going on. I almost asked both of y'all to come on. Maybe that's something we could do in the future.
You should. Well, what I would suggest is having her on separately because she's got a lot going on too. I'm very proud of her.
Yeah,
she's doing so much great work.
I follow her on Substack now.
Oh, good. Yeah, she's kind of stepped away from the show, from Matt Connarton Unleashed, just because. I mean, you might see her, you hear her on a random Saturday morning with me, but
for sure.
But she's got so much going on with all the activism. I'll plug her website, jencoffee.com.
Please, I love what she's got going on. The girls love it too.
Yeah.
And,
I love her work.
Yeah.
Huge fan of her work. I love what she's doing. She's such a huge inspiration.
That's why
seriously.
I asked. You guys are both kicking ass, on different fronts, but you're very much part of the same organism. And I was just wondering if that's hard to organize. Because we do the podcast, and me and Lexi have a little bit of a flair and appetite for some activism and sharing stories, but that's we don't speak for all of the band members, and the podcast, in my opinion, isn't all the band members' opinion, and all of that. But I just was wondering how you organize that.
Life is very busy, but I mean, but the things that we're doing at this point, because again, she's kind of stepped away from the show itself, so we're each kind of organizing our own worlds which exist together but also separate, if that makes sense. Do you ever get in trouble?
It's hard to tell. We were looking the other day and I was like, if there's any other podcasts in New England or conversation spaces that get a lot of troublemakers that might rival Sepsiss, I said the only people that could rival us that have real life kinetic physical trolls might be Matt Connarton. I think we got you beat digitally, but in the past, I've seen some of your feuds are a little bit more kinetic than ours have been. But it's tough to say. How do you ever get in trouble for being? People are always asking us, do we get in trouble for being outspoken? Mm-hmm. And is it worth it? And I'm always reminding people, we would never do what we're doing if it wasn't worth it. We weren't having a blast with it. But how do you feel? Everybody's different.
Well, in terms of getting in trouble for being outspoken, as you know, because as I referred to, I used to do afternoon drive at WMNH weekdays 4 to 6 with a heavy political component, and then a couple of years ago, I became a Saturday morning host with no politics. Oh, so yes, you can. There can be repercussions. Mm-hmm. So now that's why you never hear any. You might hear dribs and drabs if something comes up during a conversation on my show as I'm interviewing a musical guest, but you don't hear overtly politics on my show anymore, and that's why anything like that I want to do, we'll do it on a separate podcast version of the show. But on WMNH, there is without going into details, there is a reason that I used to be an afternoon drive host, and then I went to weekends. It all worked out for the best, in a lot of ways.
Yep.
But there is a reason that happened. Yes.
Sometimes everything needs to be in its proper place for its time, in its inventory. And
I trust the universe with it.
No, wow, that's so well. Thank you for saying that. Very well.
Something I'm learning to do.
It's very hard to let things go.
It is.
We're glad that you shifted towards the focus of music. What is some of the most important things that you've learned from interviewing musicians?
I just everybody's so different. I love learning what someone's creative process is. I'm kind of a nerd that way.
Yep.
That's why I'll ask questions like, who writes the songs in your band? How do you write them? Who comes up with the ideas? Who comes up with the riffs? Who comes up with the lyrics, etc. I love learning about.
Cause a lot of band fights. When people leave, they must go back to their band rooms and have to sort that out.
I hope so. That's fun to think about. But yeah, I love talking, and not just musicians too. I mean, we've had actors and comedians and authors and other creative people on the show too. But it's a very obviously very heavily focused on music. But I just love talking to creative people about how they create, what drives them to create. I also love talking to older artists. Like, I don't know if you know John Poussette Dart. Kind of a bit of a legend, the Poussette Dart Band from the 70s. But whenever he's playing in Manchester, we have him on the show because he's still releasing. He's in his 70s, but he's still releasing new music, and I love talking to him.
That's how I want to be.
Cool. Yeah.
Like when you determine success, of course there are those little other trophies and symbols of success and mementos and milestones. But if you're the big goal, one of our big goals is to continue to do it. Some guys like that are that's my fucking hero.
Yeah.
I need to tap in.
Yeah. So even people who've been doing it for decades, what I want to know what keeps them going. And he likes it because I can tell, because he's coming on my show, and instead of me sitting there asking him questions about the Poussette Dart Band and everything he did when he was in his 20s, I'm like, tell me about the music you're making now. Which most interviewers won't do that. They want to hear the old stories and whatnot. I want to know about what you're doing now.
You're not generic. No, you don't do all. I've heard you pepper some of those things in, but you don't have generic interviews at all.
Thank you. No, I appreciate you saying that.
I really love that about your show.
Thank you. I try to do something different.
When Matt Connarton Unleashed or any of your radio shows, would you guys ever do your own music festival or event or something with the people that you brought onto the show?
That's interesting.
We've never really tried to organize something like that. I think that's why we like, we like being a part of something like Swarmy Fest, because inevitably, Swarmy Fest has a lineup where it's either, some of the bands have been on the show, some of the bands will be on the show in the future, some of the bands might be on the show that weekend.
We're really putting in that discovery thing we were talking about.
Yeah,
we're really trying to motivate people towards. That's why we always have the new bands.
Hell yeah,
each year.
Absolutely. But we've never, I used to do a lot of promotion, but before I even started Matt Connarton Unleashed with IPMNation, I used to promote a lot of shows. It's a lot, I don't have to tell you, with Swarmy Fest, It's a lot of work.
It really is. I'm glad somebody else said it.
Oh, hell yeah. It's a lot of work.
It is. No, it is.
It is.
I've got to get into this because I don't want to run out of time before we touch on it.
Yeah.
But one of the things you do is hypnotizing people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, that is an interesting field. Now, I got to make a confession. Like, I'd have a hard time, hypnotizing or having the privilege to hypnotize people because, like, I'm a pervert. And you can't.
Has anyone ever convinced of being like any kinky thoughts
or crimes? Like anybody confessed to any strange kinks or like?
We have to know,
right?
Okay, we have to.
Or is that confidential?
Oh,
that might be like a doctor, dentist.
Well, there is HIPAA, but that would only apply to specific people.
Right.
No, so I wish I had a more fun answer to this question. But the truth is not that interesting. But I'll tell you the truth. It's not like what people think. It's not like what you see in movies and television. It's not. In other words, it's not mind control. So if I hypnotize you, I don't put you into a trance and get you to
my mind went fucking dark. I mean,
no.
I was like, I can't. Some things you got to have some self-discipline, and I'm like, the world made me where I am not allowed or have the ability to hypnotize people because I'd be, robbing banks and doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I can't make anyone do anything against their will. The truth is, if I take you into a state of hypnosis, you're in control the entire time. I'm just guiding you through the process. And you can wake up from it anytime you want to. If I say something to you like, hey, you might find that you want to rob a bank and then bring me back all the money.
No kinky stuff.
Wouldn't work. No.
Oh, Lex. We had all kinds of bets
I'm kidding.
So without too much, is there anything wild or truly interesting that's happened during a session that is worth sharing? Like, has anybody? I keep thinking of people ripping their pants off and running. I don't know why.
No.
No. But I don't know. Has anybody channeled Hendrix or a dead uncle?
No, well, I have the closest thing to that is I have done some past life regression sessions. I am certified in that, and those get pretty interesting when people. I mean, whether you believe in it or not, I mean, it's an experience. It's the person experiencing it. They believe it's happening, and they will tell me some pretty interesting things. That they're seeing when they in
I
their
got some
mind.
People you can hypnotize.
Yeah. I mean, those are fun. I like past life regression sessions. Those are the most interesting. But
Lex, you get the last question with Matt.
What's one thing that radio and podcast hosts can do differently or just do in general?
Yeah, what are we missing?
In the years to come to keep people listening to the radio and being interested in these types of media outlets?
That's an excellent question because it's becoming harder and harder because there's so much. So much. Everybody has a podcast now. And anyone listening or watching this, if you don't have a podcast, you will someday. Someday before you die, you'll have a podcast. So it's very, very difficult. One thing that I tell everybody is just be yourself and don't overthink it, and do the kind of show that you think would be interesting to do. Don't try to copy anybody else. Don't try to model yourself after anybody else. Just like with music, with music, you shouldn't be chasing trends, right? You should do the kind of music that you want to do. And that's what you're most likely to succeed with, is something that you're excited about creating. I always give the example, what if Kurt Cobain had said, you know what? Hair metal is really popular still. Maybe Nirvana should be a hair metal band. Think about how different things might have been if he had chosen that. So the same thing with podcasting. Do the kind of show that you want to do and be yourself, because that's the only way you can do something that is truly unique, because there's only one of you. So just be you and do the show that you most want to do.
I love that.
Great. Matt Connarton, WMNH 95.3. Don't miss out. Don't be crazy and miss out on one of the best shows Saturday mornings live in New England. You can catch it on Facebook. You can go to mattconnarton.com, or you could do like I do and just watch on Facebook.
Yeah,
I love watching on Facebook because we can type
see
to
you. Yeah,
that's true.
We like to interact.
I do see you in the chat room. I don't always get a chance to shout you out because sometimes, to be honest with you, depending on what's going on. So yeah, sometimes I just forget to look at the chat room.
No, it's okay. And then, you're busy. And
then I see it afterwards.
There's probably a lot of people commenting right now that we're ignoring. We appreciate you so much for spending some time with us. We'll see you in a month or so at Swarmy Fest. We appreciate you taking out the time to be with us today on the Sepsiss Show.
Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Yo, we love you too, man. Tell Jem we said hi, and we'll talk to you next time.
Absolutely.